Hi, it's Daniel, and today we're talking about the planning process as you turn your strategic plan into a series of discrete, manageable projects. In the reading, I discuss how to break out your goals, set a budget, derive tasks, and work out a timeline with milestones and deadlines. In this video, I'd like to emphasize just 3 tips that I've found personally very helpful as you work through this process. The first is to always remember that as the department head or as the leader of the team, you and you alone are the defender of the strategic plan. Typically, planning is done on a yearly cycle, and what I've found is that a year is a very, very long time. Even if you collaborated with your managers in making the plan, as recommended in the previous reading, you are really the only one whose focus is on the overall strategic plan. Your managers are more tactically focused on the work of their own departments. And so, inevitably, as the year goes on, unforeseen opportunities will come up, or team members will think of exciting new ideas. Another school may suddenly offer to partner on a program, for example. It's easy to get distracted by these, even if they don't match up with that strategic plan you published months ago. And your managers will certainly get excited by opportunities that fit within their department. But no matter how exciting this seems, you're the one whose job is to keep the big picture in view. Does this new opportunity fit within the year's goals? If not, it might be better to say no. Do you currently have capacity for another project? If not, it might be better to push it back or look at including it in next year's strategic plan. You're the only one who is looking at the big picture and who can make that sort of call to keep your team on track as you work through the whole year. All right, my second tip is to emphasize how much faster and more reliable reference-based forecasting is compared to trying to work out your budget or your timeline on a zero-based basis. Time and again, I've seen this in my own experience. To take a totally trivial example to show how this works, let's say that you're planning a new program and you're doing the budget, and you need to decide how much money you're going to spend on pencils. You have to work out a number to fit in the pencil expense line of your budget. If you're planning on a zero-based basis, you can spend a lot of time working out how many of the cohorts of the program you're going to run, multiplying that by how many students you estimate will attend each cohort, multiplying that by the number of pencils you think each student will need, and then looking up the price of a pencil and multiplying by that amount. This will certainly give you a number, and it might seem authoritative after all that work, but you could save yourself a lot of math by just going with the reference-based approach. That is, just look at how much you spent on pencils last year and adjust that for any known changes. Say you're running one less cohort this year. Just make that adjustment to last year's number, and there, you've got your pencil expense. That may seem a lot less scientific than doing it the zero-based way, but the reality is that we human beings are natural optimists, and so whenever you try and work out a number on a zero basis, you're always, even if you try and account for it, taking a best case approach. And that just doesn't match the reality. Also, with a reference-based number, you have the advantage of experience. Let's say that students tend to break a lot of pencils. If you're doing your expense the zero-based way, you don't know to take that into account. When you take a reference-based number, all of those little unforeseen, unknown happenings are included in the number. And so a reference-based approach, it's not only a lot less work and a lot faster, it gives you a lot more reliable number. That's certainly been what I've found. Okay, and finally, for any event or project, I recommend that you always start your planning from the outcome and you work back to the present. This enables you to develop a much more reliable timeline much quicker than when you start at the present and work forward. When you start with the outcome and work backward, it's much easier to see how much time each major milestone will take and juggle them within the available time before the project starts. It's when the project starts, it's that deadline at the end that really drives everything else. And when you start at the end and work backward, you acknowledge that truth. Okay, that's it for today. Best of luck for all success with your own projects, and thank you for your time and attention.